Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Echoes of Mana video, and we are 24 hours into the game, and I think it's time to do my first tier list for this game. The reason I think it's time to do this right now is because by far the most common question I've gotten over the first day of this game is, what do I reroll for, Orange J? Or, my favorite version, the shorthand of it, is, what reroll for? My DMs this morning in Discord were full of the question, what reroll for? Well, let me tell you what reroll for by doing a bit of a tier list here, and let me kind of tell you how I'm thinking about these characters. I'm going to try and talk to you about how they are now, obviously, at launch, but I'm going to try to consider how these units will scale when we get more banners. Oftentimes, launch units fall off really hard, so I am going to try and think about the future as much as I can, keeping in mind we don't really know much about the future of this game yet, but I think some things are predictable. Okay, let's talk about Reese first. Now, she's the character I'm building my account around, and I think she's an S tier character. Not just because she wears cool green armor and looks really nice, but I think there's other reasons too. Strength, this is the stat that physical damage dealers scale off of. 888 is pretty high. Not the highest that we have, but pretty good. Her Constitution and Spirit. Constitution is your anti-physical defense. Spirit is your anti-magic defense. Are both in the mid to high 600s. This means she won't be bad late game against either magic damage dealers or physical damage dealers. Her luck caps out at 101. This will help her crit a lot, which will help her damage. HP is just decent. And then int, which is your magic damage dealing stat. I don't know why she has 800. That's pretty high for a physical damage dealer. I'm sure there is a reason, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, her stats that matter, I think they're all pretty good. And then 272 MP is whatever. Let's look at her skills. What is Reese exactly? Well, she's a physical damage dealer who excels at making chains. Whirlwind Spear, tons of multi-hit attack. Torrential Thrust, 3-hit attack. Her self buff is a strength plus 25% buff, which will help her damage. We like that a lot. And then I think she scales well into the future because of her support skills. The first support skill you unlock on every character is initial ST gauge plus 100%. Her second one is on her paired ally. So in the group, the person she's paired with, when they on special technique, which is this right here, when they use their special technique, their skill damage, so their two skills, will get a 30% damage buff for 10 seconds. One thing you can do in this game is swap in a character, drop their skills, and swap them back out. So in the future, Reese would be a very good partner for maybe a future wind unit who has really hard-hitting skills and a nice special. I think this helps her be a little bit safer of a level up right now because of how she could help somebody in the future. And that's my breakdown of Reese. Okay, next up, we got to talk about Duron next. He's also boosted on the current banner, and a lot of people have this guy rated really, really high. I think he's good. I don't think he's as good as some of the other people that I've heard talk about him. I'm going to put him into A, and I think he's a very specialty character. Again, let's break it down. So his HP maxes out at 1911. That's really nice. Strength at 910. Really good strength score. Constitution 746. So he's very good against physical damage units. But Spirit of 570, for somebody with a sword who has to stand there on the front line, I think that's a little bit low. Now, if we look at his special tech and skills, his special technique is a physical damage. And then his skills, he has break armor. I think this is a good skill, and I think this skill will be good going forward. Basically, what it does, deals sword damage, and then debuffs the enemy's Constitution by 35%. Remember, Constitution, this is the physical tanking stat in the game. It's basically defense, right? So he has a defense break right here, or a Constitution break, that will help your other physical units in your group deal more damage. So definitely a spot where Duron would be considered like an S tier character would be in an all physical group. If you paired him with two physical damage dealers, he could really enable their damage by using this skill. I think that's cool. And then his other skill, defensive MP cost 20. This is defensive. It's not called defensive MP cost 20. It's just called defensive. But he gains super armor and a constitution buff plus 45%. He's going to be better at taking physical with this on, and super armor prevents your character from getting knocked over, right? You've seen that in the game already probably if you're playing. Sometimes your characters will get disabled by being knocked over. Super armor will prevent that. It's a really cool thing to have. And it was in the other mana titles. Oftentimes it was just called armor, I think. If you've played those, you might know what this is. And then his support skills. he has a paired ally support skill as well. So whoever he's paired with, after they use a skill, their ST damage. So it's the opposite of this one. It's the opposite of Reese's. I don't have that open anymore. After the unit he's paired with uses a skill, so uses one of these two moves, this technique for them gets the damage boost. Reese is after they use this, these get the damage boost. Same kind of thing though, and I do think this helps him be a little bit more future-proof. You can pair him with somebody who maybe is a good magic tank later, and he can play off of them by boosting their abilities, boosting their damage with his support skill. I think that's pretty good, and I think Duron is a really solid character if you're building around him. I don't think you'll regret it. Just try to pair him with other physical units, and maybe in the future try to fight physical damage dealing bosses. Okay, who's next? Next up, we've got Sumo. Now, Sumo is somebody I've gone back and forth on a lot. Some people have said this is the best character in the game. He should be S tier. I think he's good. I'm going to put him into A tier for now. In my opinion, he might be like top of A. I'll tell you what, I'll put him top of A for right now as a nod to people who are so high on him. Let me tell you my thoughts. First of all, Sumo, another sword user, right? So meant to be up in the face of the enemy. Strength 813, that's pretty good. A nice luck score of 98. Balanced between Constitution and Spirit, so I do like that. Good HP, right? And then look at his skills. Thrusting Twister, physical damage skill, right? Okay. And then he has a heal. This is why so many people think that he's like an S tier character. Okay, like, it's good. He has a heal, right? He's also like kind of a tank. So there's no more damage in these skills. He's not going to do any more damage for you. And I worry about this guy as the game progresses. If a better healer comes out, who's like an int-based character who can do a ton of magic damage and a ton of healing, and isn't also like frontlining, and whose AI might be more geared towards using heals, because I've heard really mixed results on his AI's ability to heal. Keep in mind, you can tweak the AI in this game, and so I need to play with it a little bit more. Right now, this is a super powerful skill because we don't have access to a ton of healing, especially from our 4-star characters. So I value it high now. I just wonder if it doesn't fall off later. And then if we look at his support skills, he gets the ST gauge boost like everybody else. And then he gets self skill on special technique, gain SA super armor for 10 seconds, and his normal attacks get a damage boost. I don't love this one so much. I see what they're trying to do because boosting the damage of his skills would have been meaningless because his skills don't do damage. So he's like a physical attacking unit who, after he does his special attack, gets bonus damage to his regular attacks, right? Just the basic attack, and then is a spot healer for you with a lot of shielding, right? He gains super shield or super armor here plus the Constitution buff, and he gains super armor here for 10 more seconds if you want to cast that. I think it's good. I think it's really good right now. But again, I said I'm trying to like value these people on how I think they scale into the future. I think maybe he falls off a little bit later, so I would be slightly more hesitant to build him now. If you disagree, build him and then in 3 months, shove it down my throat how I was dead ass wrong about that. I'd be happy to hear that from you. Okay, next up, we've got Poboy next. Now, there's not been a ton of mixed feelings about Poboy. Poboy to me is going to be a B tier unit. I don't think Poboy's bad, right? And in fact, I don't actually think any of our 4-star characters in the game right now are bad. But I do think Poboy is kind of one of the worst characters that we have right now in the 4-star category. She has benefits though. Let's talk about them. First of all, strength at 774, int at 875. She is a magic damage dealer, like her main skill does magic damage, but she also throws a boomerang, right? So she kind of is both. Con and spirit are low, sort of like what a mage would be. Luck at 108 is good, she'll get a lot of crits, and 1541 HP is, decent-ish. If we look at her skills, her special technique is physical damage, so it's a boomerang skill that does physical damage. Her strength's just decent, right? 774 is kind of low, so I wouldn't expect a ton of damage from this. Her skills, this is her best skill, I think. This fire skill, fire medium damage, good skill, does a lot of work. You can use this effectively, right? And because she's a boomerang thrower, really easy to keep her back at range where it's safe, so you don't have to worry about her low constitution and low spirit getting her killed. Then her buff is an intelligence plus 25% buff, and spirit plus 20% buff. So we'll boost her magic damage, which is half of her kit, right? And then we'll boost her magic resistance. She runs out of MP, she's a boomerang thrower with low strength. I don't really love that. Then if we look at her support skills, her support skill that you get is on herself, on special technique, restore 25% of restore HP 25% of RCV. So when she uses her boomerang throw, which I don't think is a particularly great move for her, she'll heal 25% of her HP. I get it, it's a heal, we don't have a lot of heals. She can kind of keep herself alive in a boss fight or something like that. But I don't know. She's the one I'd be most hesitant to build. If you are building around her, I think she's very playable. That's why I'm putting her in the B tier, because she can stay at range, right? The boomerang is nice, and some of the other mages in this game have a problem with getting too close to the mobs to try and regenerate their mana by beating them with a stick and they end up dead. Okay, so that's Poboy. Next up, speaking of mages that end up killing themselves on mobs, we have Angela. Now, I'm going to take Angela here, and I'm going to drop her into A tier. I think Angela is a better mage than Poboy, and she's more of like a pure mage, right? I think more of like what a mage in this game was. She looks really nice too. Definitely a better character model than Poboy. Did I consider that on the tier list? You decide for yourself. Let's talk about Angela though. Int, first of all, 910, dang, that's good. And if we go to Poboy, 857, 910, better damage dealer right here. 1550 HP, again, that's towards the low side. Strength is low, luck at 101 is nice. Con is low, spirit is actually pretty high. So we'll be pretty decent at taking damage from magic units. If we look at her skills, double slash, her special technique scales off of magic. This is really good for her. This is one of the reasons I think she's a better mage than Poboy. Her special technique does a lot of damage because it scales off of her int. That's good. Then her skills, Ice Smash. I use Angela a lot right now. This is just like one-shotting mobs. I really like Ice Smash. Good move. Then her buff is called Limit Break, increases her int by 25%. So yeah, there you go, more magic damage. And then her support skill, Self. When foes' HP is 50% or higher, damage plus 12%. So against bosses, or against anything, this is probably one of the reasons why she's one-shotting a lot of trash. She walks out there, mob's HP's at 100%. Well, that triggers this, so she does 12% more damage. This is just good. It's on all the time. I like this skill a lot. Now, I say that's probably why mine is killing people in one shot. Mine doesn't have this yet. I have not unlocked the support skill on Angela yet. My brain got a little ahead of my account right there. But I think she is a true ice damage dealing mage. Her biggest drawback, what keeps me from putting her in that S tier, is if you have her being aggressive towards the mobs, she tends to run up to them and start beating them with her stick. That regenerates mana. Staff users regenerate mana when they do that. But the mob will just beat her up. It's like, oh, here, let me just kill you real quick. And I'm like, well, you do 0 damage when you're dead. And that keeps her out of S tier, in my opinion. Okay, next up, we've got Shiloh next. Now, Shiloh, guys, I'll save the best for last. I'm going to put Shiloh as the best character in this game right now, in my opinion. And before you get on me, listen to me. Let me make my case for Shiloh before you start coming down at me, right? I know it's not a waifu. I know he is, as my friend Cloud put it earlier, unnecessarily ripped. Like, this dude's abs look like a Greek sculptor got a little overzealous. Like, fresh out of art school, Greek sculptor was like, bro, these abs are where it's at. So that's Shiloh. Let's talk about him. Strength 844. He's going to hit pretty hard. Con and Spirit, both 622. If we go up here, like, who else had balanced Con and Spirit? Well, Sumo has pretty good, 662, 634. If we look at Duron, 746 Con, 570 Spirit. So a nice balance between the two, in my opinion. For Shiloh. Okay, so he's pretty tanky. Luck at 96 is okay. HP 730 is pretty good. 844 int. Now, it's his special techniques that make him good. Smashing Blade. This does a lot of damage. Physical damage. Scales with his strength. Triple Tiger. Another chainer for you with a triple hit physical damage attack. He has a super armor Fadiel Guard shield with a constitution buff. So, makes him tankier against physical damage dealers and gives him that super armor. And then, this is the thing. This is the thing that makes him, in my opinion, the best character we have in the game. Himself and his paired ally. This is a buff for both himself and whoever he's paired with. On special technique, restores HP. So, healing is just at a premium right now. That's the whole reason for, like, people liking some characters in this game. He gives himself lifesteal, and he gives his equipped ally lifesteal. I like it. I like it. That's a really good skill in my opinion. Now, I haven't unlocked it yet, obviously. Not a ton of other people have either. But just being able to like, oh shoot, I need a little heal. Boom, let me drop my special and get that heal. I do think that's going to be pretty valuable. And I think it will be as valuable now as it is in like 3 months. So I think he gets a little bit of like future proofing in my opinion from that. And that's a tier list, guys. So, thank you for watching this video. If you agree with my tier list, let me know down in the comments section. If you think I'm an idiot, also let me know down in the comments section. But maybe try to be a decent human being. I don't know. Maybe that's asking too much from YouTube comments. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. I hope you're having fun with the game, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.